Hello, I'm Brian Westbrook with the Coalition for Life, and today I'd like to chat with you about Board Bill 34, the so-called buffer zone in front of Planned Parenthood's abortion facility in St. Louis, Missouri. In last week's video, linked below, we revealed the entire basis of Board Bill 34, calls for service to the police department, is completely false, as they're actually decreasing, not going up, as Alderwoman Ingrassia claimed. We also revealed, after reviewing the official police report, there were in fact only 15 calls for service in 2017, not the 73 that Alderwoman Ingrassia has claimed on the record several times. Today I'd like to go deeper into these calls for service and reveal two new facts that will continue to shake the foundation of that supposed public safety claims we keep hearing about as reasons for Board Bill 34. According to the official police report, there were only 9 cases assigned to Planned Parenthood's address during the last 3 years. The first 2 were for destruction of property and for peace disturbance. These appear to have nothing to do with the pro-life activity and look to have occurred on the grounds, not anywhere near the driveway. The next 2 are almost laughable, and they were calls to the police for lost articles. Both of these lost by the same person, a security guard. The next one was a car accident on the parking lot of Planned Parenthood. A woman lost consciousness while behind the wheel and crashed into a security guard's car. Afterwards, she had no idea an accident even occurred. That brings us to 5. Over half of the cases have nothing to do with pro-life activity or the driveway. 2 of the remaining case reports were for peace disturbances, where pro-life advocates on the sidewalk were approached by unprovoked strangers who proceeded to either push or spit on them. Again, while unfortunate, these still don't have anything to do with the driveway or impeding the flow of traffic. Here at the end, we come to only 2 cases that were against pro-life advocates. Both were false attacks on a man named John Ryan. The city consular's office prosecuted Mr. Ryan. After hearing evidence, the court determined that Mr. Ryan was not guilty of impeding the flow of traffic. As you can see from the video, security guard Joel Levy recklessly drove at Mr. Ryan, not slowing down to give Mr. Ryan an opportunity to back up. Mr. Ryan was simply exercising his First Amendment rights. Finally, the most unfounded accusation was Planned Parenthood claiming John Ryan allegedly made a terrorist bomb threat. As you can see in this video, the Planned Parenthood employee who claimed that Mr. Ryan had told her about 7 bombs being inside of the Planned Parenthood building walked right by him into work without missing a step. If a bomb threat was really made, why did this Planned Parenthood employee walk normally by him? She doesn't even flinch. Why doesn't she stop to warn the NARAL escorts outside? Why doesn't the Planned Parenthood evacuate the building? Why did Planned Parenthood continue to see clients? The simple truth, there was no bomb threat. Not only did John Ryan pass a polygraph test, but when this case went to the grand jury, they returned a no true bill, saying there was absolutely no evidence of a bomb threat. These facts didn't get in Alderwoman Ingrassia's way. She used this false accusation as key evidence when she filed her buffer zone bill just 20 days later. Interesting. As you can see, none of these calls for service or cases support the claim that pro-life sidewalk counseling is a threat to public safety. Beyond the police calls for service, Alderwoman Ingrassia repeatedly claims that the buffer zones have been upheld by the Supreme Court in the past. Again and again, she references the Hill versus Colorado case, which is a moving bubble zone, not a bright line buffer zone. Looking at the actual laws and cases in question, however, we have discovered the language from the proposed Board Bill 34 comes directly from the law the Supreme Court struck down 9-0 in the McClellan versus Coakley ruling, Board Bill 34 says, no person shall knowingly enter, remain on, create any obstruction within the driveway of a health care facility or within a public way or sidewalk within 8 feet of any portion of such facility's driveway during the facility's posted business hours. The McClellan case says very similarly, no person shall knowingly enter or remain on a public way or sidewalk adjacent to the reproductive health care facility within a radius of 35 feet of any portion of an entrance, exit, or driveway of a reproductive health care facility. As you can see, this is almost identical with the exception of the distance, 8 feet versus 35 feet. And as we've noted in a prior video, even the 8 feet from the driveway, we are still too far away for a personal conversation. The exceptions are nearly identical as well. Board Bill 34 reads, this subsection shall not apply to the following: persons entering or leaving such facility, persons using the public sidewalk or street right-of-way adjacent to such facility solely for the purpose of reaching a destination other than such facility, law enforcement, ambulance, firefighting, construction, utility, public works, and other municipal agents acting within the scope of their employment. All of this is pulled directly from the law found unconstitutional in McClellan versus Coakley. Yet, Alderwoman Ingracia continues to claim this was based on the Colorado law. Finally, we come to Allison Dreef, Executive Director of NARAL Pro-Choice Missouri, and the main lobbyist on this buffer zone bill. She is currently suing the city of St. Louis for, you guessed it, First Amendment rights violations. Allison Dreef claims that as she was protesting in the street and blocking traffic, she was deprived of her rights to freedom of speech by the enforcement of Ordinance 69282, which relates to impeding and interfering with traffic. She claims in her lawsuit that this terminated her freedom of movement, and that they committed no crime, and that they posed no threat to the safety of any police officer or any other person. It's ironic that Ms. Dreef makes this claim because this is the exact ordinance that was strengthened in 2012 at the request of Planned Parenthood to restrict sidewalk counseling. Nolan Charkey from the City Councilor's Office defended the buffer zone in a public hearing by saying the Ordinance 69282 doesn't go far enough and we must be more restrictive. Thus, the need for yet another law. This is hypocrisy at its finest. The main lobbyist for this buffer zone is suing to protect her First Amendment rights to block the streets, thus impeding the flow of traffic, while at the same time falsely accusing the pro-life sidewalk counselors of doing the same thing and demanding further restrictions on them. We ask the Board of Aldermen to reject this attack on our First Amendment rights, and we ask that you, again, call and write to the aldermen and alderwomen and ask for their no vote on Board Bill 34.